Italo Calvino is one of the most innovative authors of all time. If on a Winter's Night, A Traveler, Invisible Cities, those are transformative novels. And today we are going to hear Calvino speak at length on what approach you should bring to your creative process. Should you bring a logical approach or a trance approach? And if you don't already know, Right Conscious is the headquarters of everything related to real transformative literature. And Calvino is, of course, in that group. And I'm planning a new series on Calvino if you guys are interested. And so when that starts to happen, you will find more videos like this down in the playlist below. But hey, everybody, it's Monday morning. You're not here for me. You are here for Calvino. Delirium. Let's assume I answer. I am always rational. Whatever I say or write, everything is subject to reason, clarity, and logic. What would you think of me? You'd think I'm completely blind when it comes to myself, a sort of paranoiac. If, on the other hand, I were to answer, oh yes, I am really delirious. I always write as if I were in a trance. I don't know how I write such crazy things. You'd think me a fake, playing a not too credible character. Maybe the question we should start from is what of myself do I put into what I write? My answer, I put my reason, my will, my taste, the culture I belong to, but at the same time, I cannot control, shall we say, my neurosis or what we call delirium. And one of the reasons I am choosing to focus on Calvino is I really want to answer this question and explore it. How do you become innovative? How do you become transformative? What is the blueprint in general for that? Because people love to act like there isn't one. There are random outliers and we all have our own path. But in general, the bookshelf behind me has authors who were all a stone's throw away in terms of their approach and their mindset and their upbringing and how much they worked and all the other stuff. And if you're not in that circle also, if you're not in that stone's throw, then you are the outlier and most likely are going to fail. And you should at least be acknowledging that and saying, okay, I'm going off on this solo mission right now. And so Calvino speaks of the two polarities in creativity. The first being the very logical approach, which many people don't believe exists. But I would contend that most of us, when use the logical framework throughout our entire reality, because if you've never been taught anything else, if you've never cultivated different frameworks toward reality, then you will just view everything logically. You will just reduce, deconstruct, and destroy. And even if you get into an emotional state while you are writing and tap into something, in general, though, through revision, through how you come to the page, through how you view your work and where it's at and your expectations and all the other things, how you view yourself, how you contemplate certain things in your story, if that's all rooted in logic, then you are technically being a logic bro throughout the entire process. It's what bends and shapes the entire narrative. And this is one of the reasons, in my opinion, why writing has become worse as a collective over the last decade or two because of digital technology and the loss of religion and spirituality, having to live in these little suburban boxes. We've lost the ability to explore other frames as children. As adolescents, we are rewarded in our slashing culture to be able to logically look through everything because you can use your mind to defeat any opinion or overcome your family or situation or the religion you were raised in or what your parents believe politically and yada, yada, yada. And it's addicting because if you logically move through life, then you will be generally rewarded with a middle-class lifestyle. But sadly, there are people who have done this for decades. And how do you recover? How do you get back and start exploring other frames when that was supposed to happen in childhood? That was supposed to be a language you were supposed to learn in childhood. And so something that actually tragically happens is that people ping pong back to the other side. They write in trance states. They write like they are delirious. They start engaging in psychedelic drugs, which are beautiful tools of growth, which most people should take in a proper way to kickstart their system. But I remember Robert Bly saying back in the 1960s, we don't need government-funded grants. We don't need MFA programs. We don't need drugs. We need sober authors sitting down and feeling. We need people who are willing to explore their inner world throughout thousands and thousands of hours, through meditation, through Jungian active imagination, through prayer, through being in relationships, through solitude. That's what we need to create. That's what creates a good writer. And writing is different than something like music because I know musicians who just get blasted on drugs all the time and it helps them. But language itself is somewhat anti trance. It doesn't let you go all the way, especially when you start dealing with like complex writing. There are mantras, in Sanskrit or cultural songs that, while in a trance state, can really elevate you to the next level because when they're repeated over and over again, kind of the root syllables and stuff kind of take you to a new level of consciousness and you don't have to focus on the meaning anymore. But if you are writing in a trance state, then most likely you are getting a lot less than what you should be. And the trance state is different than a flow state. And so Calvino gives the right answer. And this is why you need to transform yourself to create transformative work. Because if you look at Calvino's life, he was raised somewhat in the bourgeoisie. In university, he was surrounded by other great writers and other great thinkers. He had a group around him. His parents were professors. He had, much like Cormac McCarthy and David Foster Wallace and countless others behind me, he had smart parents who helped him from the start. Then he went and found a group of people to support him. And within that space, he was able to jump off from that with his own neuroses. And so it has always interested me that all the most innovative writers on the board, most of the time, were not the complete introverts. They had at least some form of an upbringing and people around them that helped them jump into that. They were not engaging in psychedelic drugs or even a partying lifestyle. Nabokov was innovating literature forever in his 50s and 60s. And so that really speaks to me and tells me that the base is the most important thing, that what you are doing and what you are consuming over the course of decades, starting from the start of your life, which you cannot control, is how you become a great writer. Because all writers write, let's say you write 40 hours a week. Well, that doesn't make you much different than every other writer. But what are the qualities in your life? What are the things are you doing and bringing to the table? What tastes do you bring? What inputs do you bring? How about your will? Can you change your will? People think that they need to be weak and lazy and unmotivated for the rest of their life. People don't believe that they can create a stronger will and change the core of their being. Do you think Italo Calvino was born this way, or he had to change certain things? If you transform yourself, then you can transform others and you can write transformative literature. Calvino adds in his reason. I talk crap about logic, but you need to be fluent in logic. But for most of us, in a system of logic, I remember taking logic courses at university or studying the trivium and quadrivium, and that did way more than me just working through reductionist projections in my head all day. Like, God cannot be real because X, Y, and Z, and yada, yada, yada. And so this is the picture we need to come into this analysis of Calvino with, of innovative authors in transformative literature. That to be an artist means that you have to live an artist lifestyle all the time, that you have to center your life around it. Because if you want to be the next level, if you want to stand on the shoulders of Calvino, then you have to be within a stone's throw of effort and mentality of Calvino. Unless you are some savant, that's what you have to do. And other artistic genres have gotten this. If you look at what artists can do today compared to the artists of old, it's insane. Like, even though I love it all and I understand it's innovative, if you look at what musicians can do today, I understand the axiomatic genius of Bob Dylan and the Beatles and Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin, and they are absolutely amazing and pure. But the level of music has reached an entirely new level, because people have put more effort into it, and there's more accessibility and whatnot now. Well, why hasn't writing experienced the same thing? And it's because we want to romanticize these old authors and what they did and not take what they did and take it to the next level. Because taking it to the next level most of the time requires authors, and it's going to require authors not to be introverts anymore, not to hide away. We were lucky for a long time that we could just write on a piece of bark or be stuck in a room like Kant or doing whatever, and maybe to attain some success, or just write for writing's sake and hope that posthumously we maybe get discovered. But that era is over, and we're still trying to hold on to that. We're still trying to hold on to the idea that we can send our work to some slush pile and get famous. And those beliefs are not only hurting our chances at becoming a full-time writer in terms of a career, but actually hurting the writing itself. And so that is the word, everybody. If you guys want to take some of my writing and literature courses, there are some free ones and some paid ones over on my Substack. I also run a book club over there, post my own writing, have a bunch of other videos. There's over 50 hours of content on my Substack. And hey, if you want to join the literary renaissance, the best writers in the world are on Substack.com. Sherman Alexie, George Saunders, Chuck Palahniuk, David White, so many others are all over there. And if you want to share your writing, that is where you need to be. And so thank you guys for being here, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video.